Welcome to another Curmudgeon in the Cellar, the 36th by the last time I counted. I know I've been off a week. Time to catch you up. First off, we'll talk about NTRPGCon, which is the acronym for North Texas Role-Playing Game Convention, or NorTex. Always in the first full weekend in Dallas in June. Put on by a lovely man named Doug Ray, who, like me, is a cancer victim patient survivor who's fighting another cancer and seems to be doing pretty well, and we're all praying for you, Doug. Well, where do we start? Flew in on Delta. Yay, Delta. Got to the Westin. My son and granddaughter came and picked me up. Took me to the Westin, and nobody could be bothered to come out and help me unload my stuff. So I went in and got my own cart, loaded all my stuff, and pushed it into the lobby, and what do you know, somebody showed up. And I said, no thanks, thinking to myself, I'm not about to give you a tip now for just pushing this up to my room after I got all the hard work done. And let's have a word about the Westin itself, the facility. This is no slur on the con whatsoever. But man, that building needs some work. We had a sink drain that hardly drained. We had a toilet that every time it flushed, we were afraid it might be the last one, back up and run sewage all over the bathroom floor. And then we had an interesting evening. Nothing like being stuck on the 12th floor when the power goes out, as happened to us at the con on Thursday night. The power went out. And I happened to be on the 12th floor. Other people were down on the ground floor running games and such. And I'm looking out the window, and I can see there's no power for 2 blocks around me, that as far as I can see, everything's black. And the cell phones start going off. Hey, what you doing? Where you at? And somebody says, yeah, well, why don't you just come on down? And it's only 12 flights down. And I go, well, you know, let's think about this. 12 flights down probably wouldn't kill me. However, what happens if a couple hours from now there's still no power? 12 flights up will kill me. So I just decided to stay where the beds were. Well, as it happens, it was all over in less than an hour. Luckily for us, we were part of the DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth Airport's power grid, so they had to get us up right away. That was exciting. Met some great players. Great players. Dr. Rose. What can I say? What a fun person I have at the table. It was really great meeting you, Doctor, and you can come play and sit at my table anytime. You could just come tell stories. Really enjoyed your company, really enjoyed your input in the game. I'm glad you had a good time. Had another young man, about 12. I often don't use names, and sometimes if I do use names, I don't use last names because I don't care to embarrass anybody if they would be embarrassed. But found out later from his dad that he had a great time playing. Sat right there on my right hand, and the young man's smart. His mom, which is still a sight I'm still getting used to, mom's bringing in my players' food, but it's fun. I love it. When he got done with his quesadillas, he still had a few left and offered them around the table, which I was only glad to take one. And my, that was a good cheese quesadilla. It wasn't just because I was hungry either. It was very good. So that was fun. Let's see. Let's go on. Well, I played my Wheel of Blame game several times, and we had a ball. Just an absolute hoot. I threatened to tell some of the anecdotes that happened, but in retrospect, I decided not to, for the sake of not embarrassing anybody too hideously. They know who they were. They know whether they did good or bad. Several months ago, there erupted an argument amongst some people from Arizona and Texas about fried pies. And I watched this with amusement because I'd heard of fried pies, but I'd never had any fried pies, except, good old Hostess fruit pie, or back when McDonald's had those really good cherry pies. Anyway, I was hunting for somebody to split a pizza with of a Friday night, and somebody said, "Oh no, man, I think there's fried pies left over in the auditorium." So I went over, and I found a couple of boxes of these semi-warm fried pies, the original fried pie, long white on plastic or a long white paper sleeve. So I got one called marked pulled pork, and I got another one that was a cherry pie. And I mean to tell you, those pies were magnificent. That pulled pork pie was as good a pie, as good a pulled pork sandwich as I've had anywhere. And the cherry pie was, how can you lose with cherry pie? They did really well with it. So that was wonderful. And then I'll talk about one of the events that we were asked to run. Matt Finch and Frank Mentzer and myself were asked to run 3 games in the old La Quinta. Doug bussed a bunch of us over to the La Quinta Inn, where the very first NorTex was held. And boy, was I reminded why I don't remember it. It was just a little tiny meeting room. We had 3 game tables in the meeting room, and originally Matt Finch's game ran in the closet. And as it was, we only had 3 games, and we had a great time. And through a miscommunication, the other guys were supposed to give something to Doug so that he could make up a copy of the adventure that had been run. And anyway, as it happened, he had a copy of my adventure, because the very first one I ran there was The Curse of the Weaver Queen. And as it happens, that's one that's being translated into Portuguese. And so he already had it, so he printed up a copy to give to everybody. So everybody went home on a bus with a copy of my Curse of the Weaver Queen, most of which I think I signed before the weekend was over. And we had an interesting trip down memory lane. I will say, though, that we had a buffet lunch that was better than anything I remember eating that first time. Overall, great convention. Lots of guests with a capital G, and guest attendees, small g. Lots of industry people there. It's a very high concentration of industry people. And to try to go into all of them that were there and everything, you can look on the website and see who all was there. Great times. Played in the charity game, and was reminded. I was also taught about what happens to the last guy that shows at the table. He gets the last pre-gen left, and so I had this little pukey. He was a multi-classed magician cleric, 3rd level magician, 2nd level cleric, and I reminded the table and myself just what an amazing 2nd level spell Stinking Cloud is. Because boy, I pitched a couple of those during the course of the thing, and followed up with a fireball or 2, and I rocked it. Had a great time. And forgotten. I very seldom play spell users or clerics, but that was a little throwback, and we had a great time. And I don't know how much money was raised altogether down there. They do an amazing job. I'm sure they'll post that information at some point in the next week or 7 on their website. I know they're already working on getting everything ready for the next one. And of course, if asked, I'll be glad to go. That magnificent logo. You've got to go to their website, NTRPG Con, NorTex. I think you can find it at nortex.com. They have an amazing logo of all 10 of the dragons' heads that have been used, each of the 10 cons, all on one shirt. It's beautiful. Then, of course, I got my Knight Valiant shirt with all 10 of the badges, now 9 on the back and 1 on the front. And it's a little mark and distinction of having been there all the time, each time. Okay, let's see. Where will we go? All right. I saw a conversation the other day on Facebook about animal intelligence, and they were having trouble wondering why um, pigs don't have any, or animal their intelligence rating is animal, but a wild boar is semi. All right, what we were trying to think of is we were trying to classify animals by their behavior as a general rule. Pigs in a barnyard can be relatively docile, dumb, predicted to behave the same way, given the same circumstance. Cows can be predicted to behave in the same way, given the circumstance. Sheep, we've all heard the phrases about acting like sheep. All right, that's an animal. Intelligence is a set of instinctual behaviors, reasonably predictable. Now, anybody that's hunted or watched TV about the feral pigs running all over the Southwest knows that a wild pig is a lot more intelligent than a barnyard pig. Yes, barnyard pigs, as a rule, are very intelligent animals. Maybe we should have given them semi and more. But let's go to. All right, let's go to cows. Barnyard cows, pasture cows, lightning strikes, boom, stampede. However, the wild bull, crafty, semi-intelligent because it learns. Maybe not like a human brain learns, but it files away results and doesn't seek to see those same results again. Semi-intelligent. No intelligence, bugs, snakes, pure instinct, frogs. Now, of course, we're dealing in fantasy, so any of those things can be changed. I have a snake with an IQ of 193, but just, real serious speech impediments. That's what animal intelligence was supposed to be. Animals are not as intelligent as monsters. I mean, even an orc or a goblin, dumb as they might be, are not as dumb as a sheep. Okay? Semi-intelligent can be applied to any exemplar of any species, including sheep. If you've got a ram that is just wily and crafty and very aggressive and defends his territory and defends his flock, etc. Okay? Anything that's been hunted and survived for any period of time could be considered semi. But bugs, songbirds, they're not intelligent. They're purely creatures of instinct. Their instinct is to not fly across open grounds where hawks might be, not because they've been nearly missed. So that's what animal intelligence, that's what we intended. We were just trying to quantify the various types of behavior. Anything semi is considered to be an exemplar. Okay? Now, there are animals that are semi from the get-go. You might make the argument for swine. You could certainly make the argument for elephants. All right? That's where we were going. It was just a guideline, a rough rule of thumb. Use your thumbs, measure. That's the rule of thumb. Animal intelligence. There's an awful lot of screaming and hollering going on in the echo chambers that are Facebook and other social media about movies. Now, I've said many times I don't come from the comic book genre, though there's been a couple of the comic movies I've certainly enjoyed. So I don't have preconceptions. And I don't know why more people don't look at movies Some do. There are notable people that I share the opinion that a lot of these movies ought to be just looked at as M&Ms for the mind. Nothing serious, no complex recipe. Fun, escapism. Jump into it. All right. Oh, and let's take a really silly movie with good people in it. Sidney Poitier and Richard Widmark in The Long Ships. It's an interesting book. The movie's a Hollywood extravaganza, all those oily muscles and riding the mare of steel and all that, the bell and all that stuff. But hey, yeah, so what? That bell would have sunk that long ship. A bell that big made of gold? Come on. It would have taken 3 of those with trees slashed between them to hold it up. So what? It was fun. M&M's for the mind. Doesn't have to be super historically accurate. It can just be fun. Enjoy it for what it is. Quit focusing on what it isn't. I really, really, really don't understand why so many people waste so much energy ranting about what it isn't. Enjoy it for what you like. Lament what isn't there, but good God, don't focus on it and keep beating that dead horse. Finger paints aren't Mona Lisa. But hey, finger paints can be enjoyed for what they are. Good old Bob Ross and his happy trees. Yeah, he's not Titian. But you can enjoy Bob Ross watching him and listening to him for half an hour. Well, now it's his tapes. But you see where I'm going with that. Enjoy it for what it is. Quit hanging up on what it isn't. Who cares what it... Yeah, okay, you can care. Oh, it wasn't this, it wasn't that, it didn't have this. But hey, you don't have to share that with everybody else. That one thing that you thought it ought to have not being there doesn't make it bad. Okay? That's where, just enjoy it for what it is. I'm going to go see Jurassic World at least, or whatever it is. I've only watched the first 2 Jurassics. I think there's more. The only reason I'm gonna watch this one is because on that trailer, when that plesiosaur comes out of that giant wave to eat that surfer, had me. I'm gonna go watch this. I don't care if it's not true to the book or the previous movies or whatever. That plesiosaur coming out of that breaking wave, I'm going. I'm gonna go see the second Ant-Man. I'm going to go and I'm going to enjoy it with some friends. I'm not going to lament what it isn't. I'm going to enjoy it for what it is. You get what you want out of your movies. You paid the money for the tickets. It seems to me that some of you keep lamenting that so much that you're wasting your money. Nothing you go to see you'd like. How sad must that be? The Bards of Greyhawk, those little rascals, have another CD out. This one is more sit down and listen to it in the spirit of Rick Wakeman comes to mind when he did Journey to the Center of the Earth. He did a couple of solo albums that were kind of themed. And there were others, prog rockers back in those days that were doing that type of thing. And that's kind of what it is. It's really quite entertaining, and I did enjoy it. Give it a listen. You might be surprised. One other thing I have. This is kind of a short one tonight because it was really late when I remembered I had to do it, so I know I'm talking kind of fast. First off, at Game Hole, I'm going to be. They right now they've got it listed as a curmudgeon. I think it's just going to be a Q&A panel type thing. I'll take my curmudgeon hat if that's what it has to be, but I believe that's just what it's going to be. And I'm going to run the Reel of Blame several times, and I'm going to run Dirt Track Saturday night. I'm hoping to God to get a good turnout this time. I'm having trouble. This game is really fun, and I'm even going to have a really spiffy trophy to give out for this. In fact, I'm going to make up several trophies and give them out wherever I run it from now on. Let's see, what else? Here again is a case where I'm not going to use any last names because I don't know what this state's rules and stipulations are concerning this subject. But my new friend Milton was telling me about this young man he knows named Eli. And he's like 14. And Eli has figured out a way to make money at gaming. Gotta hand it to this guy. He may go far. So far, he's done what so many others have failed to do. That is make money at gaming. The old joke being, you want to make $1 million in gaming? Start with 2. You want to get rich in gaming? Forget it. Inherit. Okay? But this gentleman, this young man, in the true spirit of entrepreneurship, is running a D&D day camp. Parents are paying him so they can drop their kids off, so the kids can play role-playing games all day. Is this brilliant or what? There are dozens and dozens of people, myself included, that would love to have people pay me to come run a game for them. And this young guy has got gamers being dropped off to him. You go, Eli. Someday I hope to meet you and shake your hand. And on that note, I think this is about it for now. I'm going to go watch some World Cup. In fact, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be doing nothing but watching World Cup or going to my local clubs, FC Cincinnati. I'm going to a home match there. Well, actually, it's now tonight, given when I'm recording this. So if you're a soccer fan, or if you somehow are watching this somewhere outside of North America, a football fan of the round pentagonal stitched pieces shape type, then we're in heaven. I watched Portugal play Spain today. What a magnificent match that was. And on that note, I will say good night, good day, good evening, good afternoon.